Hello. Can everybody hear me? Is there anyone out there? Hi, everyone who's joining for the live stream today. This is Nymeria, in case you haven't met her before. Hi, baby. She's my leucistic Colombian rainbow boa. She's got the cutest little face. Will you show them your face? Hi, Amy. How are you? Oh, she's so pretty. Wait for a few more folks to show up. How you doing, Amy? Hey, Brad. Hello. Thank you guys so much for being here. Sometimes I'm like, do people really just want to listen to me talk? Hi, Dave. Yeah, it's a beautiful day here in LA. It is gorgeous and quite warm, actually. It's nice that spring is here. I'm not much of a winter person, to be honest. Never have been. But how you doing, Bradley? Hey, Wes. Yay. So glad everyone's showing up. Yeah, well, I want to pin that, but I don't have a hand. Amy said I like LA winter. I mean, I like LA winter better than Massachusetts winter or Michigan winter, that's for sure. But it's hi, Patrick. It's the darkness, I think that gets me most, but I'm also really sensitive to the cold. So say hi, Nymeria. She's so beautiful. She just shed, actually, Anu shed today, that one, and then that's Nymeria's last shed up there. 60 to 75. Half 10. Oof. If that means 10 degrees, then oof. Fair enough. I like 70s and 80s. Of course, we don't always get that. Here it's like 70s and then all of a sudden it's 100. So, got a little crew amassing. I'm so grateful to all of you for being here. Like, it's just sometimes I'm like, yeah, do people really want to listen to me talk? But I'm excited to talk about some things today. I figured I would oh no, like time. Okay, got it. I have to keep my eyes on these comments. Don't have a moderator on StreamYard today. I figured I'd start with an update on Rura. And for those of you who don't know who Rura is, she is my newest snake. She is a rufous beak snake, a Ramphiophis oxyrhynchus. And as some of you know, a few weeks ago, I found mites on her. And that was very, very sad day. And she had already had a few weeks in quarantine. She's still in quarantine. And so I went through, I've never dealt with mites before. This is my first time. Panicked a little bit, but did what I needed to do. Hi, Lisa. Welcome. But did what I needed to do, read a lot of stuff. And hi, Yoshi. Read as much as I could, asked everybody advice. Everyone had advice. I tried my best to follow advice and clean and do all that stuff. And I did see them one more time. And then for the last 2 weeks, I have not seen any mites, but that does not mean they are gone. I will not have faith that they are truly and utterly destroyed, at least for another few weeks or a month until I haven't seen any. Um, and my biggest concern, obviously, was that it would spread to everybody else, because the rest of the snakes are in this room and my office, but we really don't have doors uh, closing that room that Rura is in off from the rest of the house. So, with all the traffic, it's very possible that they could hitch a ride and come into the other room. So that was my biggest concern. I did order predatory mites and put them in all of the enclosures as a preventative measure. I really don't know if they're doing anything, to be honest. Hi, Scarlett. How are you? Yay. Um, because I've seen wood lice, which are not bad for snakes, but I have seen wood lice in the enclosures, and if the predatory mites were doing their job, there probably wouldn't be any wood lice. So I don't know. I'd love to say that predatory mites and non-chemical ways are the way to go to treat mites, but that was not. I didn't have enough faith in that. So, but she has been mite free for 2 weeks. Now the issue is, uh, yesterday or the day before, I went to clean out her pee and poop, and she had some green urates. Has anyone else ever seen that? Because I certainly had not. So that was a little concerning. From what I've read, the first thing is that it's a dehydration issue. It could also be a sign of a much more severe problem. So I'm hoping it's the former. Um, Glad you're good, Scarlett. Wood lice, as in just like those little, like tiny, teeny brown guys that just go for they come, I don't know, they just show up in my enclosures if I have real sticks or just the soil in there. I don't know if they're isopods or what, but they're super tiny. I've seen them for years, and they're never like on the snakes. They just eat like organic material. So I didn't put them in there intentionally. They just show up. Anyway, so green urates, yeah, not cool. So yeah, that is a little bit of a concern with Rua. She's been through so much. The thing about her is that this Oxyrhynchus are a arid desert species. Unlike all of my other snakes, they do not like water. They don't really even. We've seen her drink once, and I've heard of other people saying they never see theirs drink. So they need to get their hydration from their food, and I have been misting the enclosure in the hopes that she will drink, but it's really not good to have them on moist anything. So that makes it a little bit difficult to rehydrate her. So poor thing. I am not handling her very much, checking on her constantly, but trying not to stress her out more than I need to. I have to check her for mites, but I'm going to try. I'm going to try injecting a hopper with water before I feed it to her in a couple days. I'd love to do that now, but she just ate recently, and I don't want to overfeed her, but it might be worth doing it in the next day or so. See if I can get her hydrated a little bit. The good news is that she's still moving around. She's not extremely active. Yeah, it's extremely scary. Trust me, I've been a little bit of a mess about her, because I love her so much and I really want her to thrive. Also, there's other news on that tip too, but first I'll finish that thought. ADHD. What was I saying? Hydrating her, and she's moving around. She is thermoregulating. So if she wasn't doing that, then I would be very concerned. I'm still not opposed to taking her to the vet. although that might be more stress than she needs. What I am doing is sending some samples, fecal samples in for testing. And then if she doesn't improve, I will be taking her to the vet. But again, I want to kind of see if she can weather this a little bit. And the other news about Rura is that she is a species that is communal. So my husband and I have decided to get her a friend. And that is not for another couple months, or month and a half. And I will probably have to put that snake in quarantine as well first. Chameleon country? No. So she's from Western Africa. I don't think there are chameleons are there? I don't know. I'm not a chameleon person. I don't know much about them. But Western Africa, Ghana, I think Nigeria. So yeah, dew is why I was spraying the like leaves and shelves and stuff. That's what Dan said. So yeah, we are getting her a friend. Because we just felt like if they are a communal species, then it just felt like the right thing to do, to not have her forced to live alone, if that's not her nature. And that kind of makes me think about something I've been talking about a lot lately is anthropomorphism and versus empathy. And I'm actually working on an episode about this, because my first instinct when I realized, oh, they're communal, like I'm seeing them together, she must be lonely. Now that's anthropomorphizing. That's me going, I think I'm projecting onto her and saying she must be lonely. Now, we don't really know what she feels, if she understands that she's missing something, especially her, because she was put in a bin by herself after she hatched. Now, the ones that the one that I'm buying is living communally. But anyway, point being, I'm anthropomorphizing if I say, I think she's lonely, she needs a friend. The difference is I could also say I empathize that this species is naturally a communal species. That is their nature. That is normal for them. That makes sense. And therefore, I feel that it is of benefit to her to have another snake to bond with. So anthropomorphism gets thrown around a lot as like, it's almost like a slur right now. Like people are like, you're anthropomorphizing, don't anthropomorphize. And it's like, of course there's good and bad. There is good anthropomorphism and bad anthropomorphism. But I kind of want to talk about like shifting the focus to, let's just empathize, right? And empathy means looking at their nature and thinking about what is best for them based on that, and being like, I could empathize that if this animal is normally communal, then it makes sense to give her a friend, rather than saying, well, she's probably lonely. Well, I don't know that. I don't know it for sure. I could think maybe she is, but I don't know. But anyway, anybody have thoughts on that? I am all ears, because I think it's something that we should all talk about a little bit more. Anthropomorphizing isn't innately bad. And I think it's not a bad thing, but I think the good kind is more on the empathy tip than projecting human emotions onto snakes, because we do know they have feelings and they have thought, they can think and feel. We just don't really understand what that is exactly. And we naturally anthropomorphize. I mean, we do that with our other animals too, right? We just don't fully know, but that doesn't mean that they don't have them. So anthropomorphizing a little bit, can help with empathy as long as you're not going beyond and really projecting your own stuff onto the snake that you can't really ever fully know or say he looks hungry. He must be hungry when you just fed them a few days ago, and sure they might be looking for food, but that's not the best thing to feed them again. There's that would be bad anthropomorphism. But anyway, that's what I've been thinking about, and I am needing to scroll down. Okay. And what else? Oh, we had some Q&A. If anyone has any questions before I move on, I was going to move on to the Q&A. I can't wait to show you guys Rue, like in a video and in a live stream. I mean, she is just so cool. Just amazing. A fantastically, just fascinating species. So engaging to watch in her environment. And she's got me good. Yeah, really, really cool species. All right, so Dave was asking about, let's see, creative ways to provide enrichment when handling your snakes or when they're out of the enclosure. So one thing I was going to show you for smaller snakes, like Nymeria's size or less, or is like even something simple like so that's a piece of grape wood that I screwed to a base. So it's really, really solid. There's like a wooden base on the bottom. And I can like put that on a table and let her crawl around on that. She really seemed to dig it when she was much younger. I had her on it all the time. And that was fun. And then I don't actually have to like hold on to her the whole time she's out. She can explore. You could have a few of those. Another good one, and one for larger snakes, is look up on like Amazon for toddler jungle gyms. There's all sizes of them, so and different types, but you're gonna want ones that don't have like super painted or treated wood, or you want them to be PVC maybe. But there's some cool options. I have one, it's a 3-part set, and it's like a ladder, and then there's a like a ramp, and that connects to a kind of U-shaped ladder, right? And you could use that as well to connect to their enclosure and have them come out on their own if you're doing choice-based stuff. And then they could climb onto that. Only thing about that is you just need, this is all supervised, unless you are 100% certain that your room is snake-proofed, which mine are not. So unfortunately, I can't do much of that, especially since we got our rescue German Shepherd. He makes it really hard to have the snakes out as much as I would like to have them out and to let them roam. He's starting to get used to them being around, but he is very, very like overly interested. So yeah, it's been a little bit of an adjustment period. We've put like gates in every doorway. Thank you. Yeah, and Nymeria got a nice upgrade. Thank you so much. So yeah, for Dave, for your smaller snakes, like if you just take a piece of wood that you've bought for their enclosures, or go to the reptile store and get that, I would bake it if you're getting it from a expo or a store. But you can screw them together and make your own little jungle gym for them. You could also put that inside of a tent. like a little pop-up mini tent, which is what I use sometimes for an enrichment thing. And then, the good thing about that. Yeah, exactly. So just go out even and find some. Just, make sure that they're bug free and you're not bringing stuff in. Now, on that tip, I did hear someone ask about getting mites from outside, and snake mites are not native to the United States. So they're probably not going to come from a branch outside. They're going to come from a store, your substrate. That's where I think Rura got hers, is from substrate from a reptile store, or from an expo, from imports, and from breeders and stuff who have a lot of snakes and maybe they didn't notice that they had mites. So, but I still would bake the stuff you get from outside if you can. Then just screw it together and you got a little climbing gym, right? Oh, are you chilling out now? Are you chilling out? Oh my God, her face. She has the sweetest face. Little pointy nose. Yeah. So you don't have to buy anything crazy. But that's what I would recommend. Yeah. I used bleach on stuff recently, and the smell just lasted forever. So I don't really like using bleach if I can avoid it. But that's what a lot of people do. If you can, leave it out. Yeah. So interestingly, my pit bull mix, she she's fascinated by the snakes, but not like in a scary way. She she's interested in them sometimes, and she will stick out her tongue like a snake when she sees them. She'll go like that really fast. It's hilarious. Hey, how's it going, Greg? Nice to see you, Greg. Thank you. I really appreciate that. So anyway, I was saying that, yeah, my pit bull she pretends she's a snake when she sees them, and then other times she just doesn't care. She just like, oh, there's a snake. Oh, are you crawling across me? Okay, cool. She's great. I mean, I never leave them alone together, but she's totally fine. And but the other dog, no, I can't trust him. Mm, okay. Hydrogen peroxide for wood so high percentage. So I've been using a mix of hydrogen peroxide and water for like cleaning, for sure, for like cleaning enclosures after I do an initial clean, because I was told that if you leave it on for 1 to 5 minutes, then it can be a sanitizer without that smell. But I imagine you need a higher solution. But that's good to know for wood, because that's why I struggle with having wood in some of my enclosures, because the urates just never seem to come off, and I'm like cleaning it and I'm like, am I even getting it sterilized and all that? So anyway, nice to see you, Greg. I'm happy you're here. Thank you for showing up. So yeah, that's an idea. I hope that helps, Dave. I know you guys have cocoa is larger, so this kind of little wood thing would not be the best, but for Anakin and Sherbert, that might be really great. And you can get one of those little tents too, and just put a bunch of stuff in those tents, and that way you're not hovering over them the whole time that they're out, and they can really just explore without having you up in their business the whole time. I really like that. And then one more question was, okay, What would be your pie in the sky enclosure to design? Any size, any species, and no budget constraints. Well, I've been talking about this a lot actually. She wants to go to the woods, so I'm just gonna let her do it. Right on it. Good girl. Um, so I've been talking about this a lot with my husband because, we are serious about creating the snake therapy sanctuary. Um, and so we've been talking about the design and the layout and the ways we would design enclosures and how they would be massive. It would be like a kind of zoo level experience. Oh my God, I have to show you. She's just got her little chin. She's relaxing now. That's a good girl. So obviously I have all of these guys that would get like really cool enclosures. And but I mean, all of them would just be my ideal to like really, really go for it. I think especially for Helios, the Dominican red mountain boa. Um, I think his enclosure on a massive scale would just be so, so cool because I mean, I want to upgrade him regardless. He's in a 4x4x2 right now, and he just is all over it. He loves climbing, but he also hides on the ground. But seeing this beautiful red snake up in the branches and draped and basking under the UVB, which he does, most of my boas don't, but he does. I think that would just be a stunning experience to have as a display enclosure in the sanctuary. And one of the things we were talking about was, I want it to be, you walk in and in the center, as you walk in, there might be a fully glass walk around all the way around kind of enrichment enclosure where we could swap out who's in there depending on the day and their mood and all of that. And then along the walls would be these, really large, big open front enclosures for the rest of the snakes. In that case, if we do ever have the money to get this done, which I'm trying, I've got to work on a business plan and talk to a lot of people about this, but I would just have a blast designing these enclosures and making them really cool. Hi, Erin. Oh, Erin is the president of our nonprofit animal therapy group that is why I am doing what I'm doing today. And I love you, Erin. Thank you for being here. And we just bought 6 Apex enclosures to upgrade the zoo animals. Very exciting. I'm so stoked to get those set up for the zoo animals. I love you too. And yeah, that's something I'm looking forward to helping with. But yeah, so dream enclosures, like I can't pick one. I know I would get a couple more snakes if we do this. And if we do, one of those would definitely be a white lip python and possibly a scrub python or some other arboreal species that is really stunning to look at and make, really beautiful, maybe even walk-in enclosures for them so that people could see them, really, really see them in their habitat and environment and doing what they do. So that would be my ideal. What are we talking about here, Dan? Go crazy, bag the branch. Okay. Okay. Got it. Okay. So yeah, that would be my ideal. That's that. And then yeah, I guess the sanctuary thing, like I just envision Aaron is why Lisa has a snake. I was there when you were about to get the snake. I saw it about to happen. That was awesome. um ah for Helios, I would need a frame built with foam walls, sealed dry lock. I mean, they're going to be probably much more like either metal framed PVC lined or wood framed PVC lined, and then completely decked out, and so it doesn't look at all like a cage. But we'll get there when we get there. Ideally, this sanctuary would have the experience of seeing the animals in their natural habitat or close to, and then also a room set off that is fully snake proofed, that would be set up for snake experience, so snake therapy experience. So we would have couches and pillows, and that would be kind of, and it would be closed room. We could close the door, but it would have windows, and that would be an area where people could have a private kind of calm environment to interact with the snakes, supervised. And so I want that as part of the experience. And then we would have educational events in-house, as well as most likely the place would not be open every day of the week to the public like Clint's. It would have days where it's either rented out for private things or educational experiences, or we would go out into the field and take the snakes here and there. Not that often, but here and there we would do that. Me neither. I just need about like $5 million. Just 5 million, I think. And I would love to see this happen. We are really, like, it is the goal. We want to make it happen. It feels like a bit of a pipe dream, but at the same time, I can see it. So I am starting things in motion to get that like going. And what else? I think that an ideal location for that would be Joshua Tree. We were talking about moving there at one point, and it didn't end up happening last year because we found our rescue dog, and that kind of took priority, and money. But because it is a destination point, Joshua Tree has tons of people coming through, and most of them are coming through for a experience in the park, in the natural environment. Like, there are people who enjoy the nature already. You've got like a constant flow of people coming. Oh, you're so sweet, Greg. Thank you. Thank you for stopping by. I really appreciate you. Enjoy your weekend too. Yeah, ecotourism. That's what the word I was looking for. So it has its own ecotourism. It's its own destination point. It's also known to be like different, and have like unique vibe to it. So I feel like it would work really, really well for this on kind of one of the main drag in Joshua Tree. So that's kind of like what we're thinking, because as much as it would be like, I could do it in LA, but A, it would be 10 million times the cost. B, there's just so much already in LA. And you know, to get walking traffic or to get people to come to make it successful, I feel like it would be so much more challenging in LA to do that. So yeah, I'm hoping that Joshua Tree, snake therapy, serpent sanctuary, that is the goal. We were talking about having like a cafe that's at the front, that could be built in so you can have like juices and stuff and hang out. Our parks are at risk. Yes, they are. All of our parks. All of our environment is at a huge risk right now. It's really bad. Hopefully, yeah, we won't go down that road. It'll make me really sad. What do you do when you get frustrated or irritable with one of your snakes? Am I trying too hard to do what's best for them? Okay, let's clarify this a little bit, because there's two parts to this. What do you do when you get frustrated or irritable with one of your snakes? Well, no matter what, like you walk away and you let them be. Um, and like, you don't want to approach your animals in a space of frustration, especially snakes, because they feel that. Um, but are you trying too hard to do what's best for them? That I don't really understand the correlation. So if you could help me understand and elaborate, I can speak to it, because I don't think we're ever trying too hard. I mean, I think we just do our best, and that's, the best thing we can do. Um, Always doing our best, always trying to give them what they need. Now, are we talking about you're frustrated that they don't want to interact with you, or that they are not interacting with you the way you want them to? That's what I need to understand here, because when I'm like, I mean, I don't get frustrated with them, really. I mean, sometimes I'm sad, or like, oh, you don't want to come out, and I would love to hang out with you, but I don't know. I don't. If you can let me know, Michael, I'm happy to talk about that, because I don't totally get it. But like, is your snake being defensive and bitey? Is that what you're talking about? Or this girl? Well, if you want to chime back in and clarify that so I can help, I'm happy to do so. Anyways, so a little bit more on the sanctuary before I move on to the next thing is that, you know, I want it to be educational. I want it to be the therapeutic experience. I probably want to have, guest folks come and be part of it, guest educators. And oh, a really cool thing is I want to do snake inspired art by local artists, and have that for sale, where the money goes almost all, mostly to the artists, and have like some rotating snake themed art. And there's a lot of artists in that community and a lot of creatives. So I think that would be really, really fun. Um, Aaron, if you're still on here, Shrine is like, he has to do the painting for that side. I won't have anything else. So you know what I'm talking about. Shrine is an incredible artist that we know. He's actually, this tattoo right here is from one of his pieces of art, and he lives out there, and I want him to do the front of the sanctuary. But right, I can see it so clearly. Um, and we would probably have to figure out, oh, I wanna do local species, so I wanna have educational stuff on the wall of, like, what are the local snake species around, what to look for. John, my husband John, had an idea of, like, having a map of the park of Joshua Tree and doing herping trips and then putting pins on the map of what species we saw and where on the map of Joshua Tree. I thought that was a really, really cool idea. So I think there's a lot of potential for both, like, talking about, learning about snakes, educating the public about them, also talking about the experience of snake therapy and the benefits it has, and just a unique experience. That's cool. I like that. That's really cool. It's a good idea. Yeah, I'm designing it in my head. It's like we're talking about just buying, like, a lot, and the front would be the snake sanctuary and the back. Uh-huh. Yeah. Totally. Right? But it would be interactive, and it would be experiences that we have had. People come in and we go herp together, and we could even have the names of the people that were on that trip. I think it would be really fun for kids too. I really like that idea. But now I lost my train of thought. I was saying something else about the sanctuary. I don't know. I lost it. That's okay. This is what happens to me when I'm trying to look at comments and also rambling. Oh, I remembered. This kind of ties in with talking about, educating about husbandry and caretaking as well. Oh, right. I should finish that thought. Thanks, Dan. Buying a lot. We were gonna buy a lot that's on the main drag, and then the front would be the snake therapy sanctuary, and then there would be, like, a courtyard, and then we would probably have our own. We would build a home in the back, so that I because I don't wanna be far away from the snakes. So that was our plan. Anyway, also, so educating about husbandry, maybe we would partner with. Oh, hell yeah. Definitely. You definitely have to come. Um, Maybe we would partner with, some company like Exoterra or some other, herb supply companies. Maybe we would have some stuff for sale through the sanctuary and then help educate about how to use it. Um, and so that kind of ties in with this code of ethics that I've been working on. And some of you know about this, from Discord. I shared a draft with the Discord recently. I've put together, like, a PDF style version and some image style versions, but and I'll share it with you now just as the draft. But I've been speaking with Chris and my friend Chris, and he and I are talking about making it a website that is able to be edited and, like, you can submit for revisions or addendums or additions to these codes of ethics, so that it can be really more a community thing. Because I think that that's one issue in herpetoculture, is that there's not really a code of ethics, there's not really standards, and that is very bad for, you know, it's I think it leads to it leaves us open to obviously unethical keeping, but, from the outside, herpetoculture doesn't look unified. Um, and, this is a much larger issue, than something that I could tackle myself. And Chris and I are talking a lot about this and how do we change? But one thing that I feel like could be positive is to have a code of ethics for reptile caretaking that could be adopted by people as much as they want. I wouldn't own it, and people could submit and say, "Hey, I think this should be part of it." And we see where it's been revised. And as new scientific research comes out, we change it and it's accessible to everybody. And at the end, there's also all of our sources to articles and such. So I did start building that in. It's going to be a while, but Craven Moorhead. Hi, Dime Drawer. Craven Moorhead. I am not familiar with. Well, that's a whole bigger topic, and I think there should be, to be honest. But getting that to happen is another thing. I think that there should be regulation. I would not be opposed to registering my animals, or paying insurance into, and that insurance being paid into a body that runs herpetoculture and has a code of ethics and standards. It's just that many people don't want to do that. It's a big brother type thing. So I'm doing what I can, and that is to make something that people can adopt as a baseline of standards. So we have, I don't know why. Oh, I see. I can't get this banner away. Hold on a second. Let's make this. Yeah, there we go. So we have just like groups of different tenets, and then kind of an intro of like, there's no singular definition of how you're supposed to take care of these animals, and perfection isn't reasonable, obviously, but it's guidelines that offer exemplary standards in a continuous journey of advancement. And so when I made this, it's like the standards I would like to hold myself up to, and I'm not fully even there yet. It's like I'm working on it. I'm trying. So I think that's another thing that I want to emphasize with this is it's not to, if you don't feel like you're doing everything, like just as long as you're working towards it, that's really, really important. But anyway, this gives you kind of a guideline. And it was created in collaboration with other people, so it's not owned by Snake Therapy. And I don't know if you guys want to go through these, but I'm happy to just go through them real quick. And obviously, this is the draft, grounded in the latest science, evidence-based research on behavior, biology, ecology. We will remain endlessly curious about how we can improve our care and provide for our animals. We are dedicated to a state of continuous research for an improvement to our methods of care, remaining open to change when new information is presented to us. So that's I think a big deal, because there's a lot of people out there that are very stuck in their ways. Recognition of sentience. Recognize reptiles as sentient beings deserving of the respect, empathy, and compassion we would expect to be given ourselves. Our care will prioritize the welfare of the animal first. Since they rely on us for their survival and well-being, we will act in service to the best of our abilities in order to give them the care that supports their overall health. Therefore, the caretaker's desires, convenience, and aesthetics will come second to the needs of the animal. This one was definitely collaboration with some Discord folks. The wording was people had trouble with, animal comes first versus human, but I added our personal well-being supports our animals. So taking care of ourselves, mental, emotional, physical health is all crucial to having the capacity to tend to our animals. So maintaining self-awareness, self-care practices, all of that goes into being a good caretaker. Beyond the minimum. So, and this is, people will or will not go with this, but captive habitats will be sized to suit the needs of the species and the individual, offering the maximum amount of space we are capable of providing, allowing them, and this is the most important part, to move freely without restriction, the opportunity to express a wide range of natural behaviors, and the ability to choose their level of exposure to the appropriate range of environmental conditions at any given time. You are getting I need one hand. Can I have one hand? Thank you. Natural environmental conditions. Captive habitats will have natural photoperiods that come as close to replication of sunlight as possible. Now, we all know it is not possible to recreate sunlight in a box. That's why I say as possible. And include heat and humidity gradients based on the native habitat of the species. So all of this goes back and back and back to you know, reminding us that we need to take the time to do our research and be aware of our animal. I love that. I love that so much. That's so cool. I would love that is so cool. Yeah, I want to do that. Sometimes I do look at the weather app, and I think, man, it would be really cool to like connect somehow to the enclosures. That's a big project, but that's so neat. I love that so much. It's better over there. I know it is. Yeah, I would say. Do snakes see UV? They have decent eyesight. Um, I don't they see UV1. Oh man. Where's Damascus when you need him? I know that in order for them to see in full color, there needs to be UVA or UVA1. I think that's what it is. I'd have to look back at my notes. And most of our lamps don't provide that. So it's very hard to get the right combination, especially for snakes, because the ones that do provide it get really, really hot. So some are not good for snakes. But that is beyond my full capability of knowledge right now. I don't know if they actually see UV. Maybe they do. Showing my expertise right now. Huh? All right. Novel experiences. So enrichment. Animals will be provided with safe and novel opportunities for stimulation, enrichment, both in and outside of the habitat that encourages curiosity and self-determined experiences and catered to the individual. So, right. So the sun is the perfect light and heat source, right? It's just impossible with the technology that we have right now to reproduce sunlight. In the sun, they can see, yes, they can see colors. But like, I think for nocturnal animals, it's not about the sun. So I don't know enough about this to speak to it for sure because, like, I know they can see color and stuff, but, like, the bright light is like, her pupils will dilate, and she's a nocturnal animal, so she can see better in the dark than she can in the light. So, oh god. Anyway. Oh, and all of this also will tie in with it'll be part of the serpent sanctuary, like, you know, it'll be completely tied in with it. Responsive and adaptive management, I've talked about that before, like remaining vigilant about observing our animals, responding to them in kind, just making sure that, like, not just because I have two Colombian rainbow boas does not mean they're the same. They may respond differently to things. So, responding and adapting, mindfulness, patience, um, in order to minimize their stress and cultivate trust. So, this will be interesting to hear people's opinions on this because I don't do all choice based, but I thought this was a good in between of physical interactions with our animals will be done in such a way as to minimize stress. We will spend the necessary amount of time and energy in trust building techniques that ensure the individual animal does not see us as a threat and encourage them to interact with us of their own accord as much as possible. So when we choose to handle our animals, which I did, I took her out without her coming to me. We will do so in ways that support their sense of safety, are conscious and aware of their body language, which this girl is really calm right now, and respond calmly and compassionately to expressions of distress and reinforce positive interactions. So we don't put them back in if they've had a bad time. We wait until they calm down and we respond if they get stressed out. You're just on the move. Feeding practices. So I am going with I want to really look into this more. I need to find out if the place that I get my food from, my prey from, is an ethical facility because I actually don't know for sure. I had someone talking on Discord about how they'd called around and asked about different facilities practices of humane, euthanization. And Aaron, if you're still on, Lane Labs is definitely up there, I think, and Cold Blooded Cafe. But anyway, I need to do more on this. So, and I also included pre-killed it whenever possible and not overfeeding. Commit to have basic understanding of our animals' physiology and the techniques for checking their physical condition, have knowledge of the signs of common illnesses, and maintain an operational first aid kit. Knowledge of where our local exotic veterinarians are, register our animals where applicable, because I know in the UK, I think they do have to register their animals. Definitely in Australia, they do. And we will take our animals to be seen without hesitation. Do you want to go back on you can go back. There you go. Mm-hmm. So I don't put my Arcadias on. I will in just a second, Lisa. I don't put my Arcadias on the Casa because there's the Bluetooth, but maybe your Arcadias aren't the Bluetooth style, and that's why you do that. Mine just so those are on standard plugs, but everything else is on Casa. I love Casa strips; they're so great. Stress and what it looks like. Yeah, sure. Okay, so Nymeria here is not stressed. What you see is very relaxed muscles. She's just exploring, although I have to keep her from going into the cables. Okay, baby. So, body language like really tense, tight muscles, um, that means they're a little bit nervous. And obviously, pulling back, hissing, any of that will be stress, running, rattling their tails in some cases. What When they're relaxed, they're going to be maybe extending their neck out and tongue flicking and being curious. That's a relaxed body language with snakes. But yeah, like you can see her. She's just cruising. She's curious, long tongue flicks, checking everything out. And like she's not gripping me at all. She's just really relaxed. What's in the first aid kit? Good question. I actually have a video I made about making a first aid kit for reptiles. So check that out first. And mine's down here. So it has a list of everything you'd need, or everything I have in mine at least. That doesn't mean that you don't need more. I wouldn't say that. But I built myself one, and I go through it step by step. We can't see the snake. Yeah, well, I'm not going to rip her off the branch, so that would cause her stress. So I'm kind of just trying to direct her. So her little tail is wrapped around the branch, and I'm just kind of tickling it a little bit, and there we go. Okay. She's an active girl when she's out. But she can, if she will show me when she's a little bit like she'll grip me really, really hard. But that's a nice, relaxed, curious snake. Okay. How much money? That is depending on how many herps you have, right? Like, I mean, and I would have several thousand, because you never know. I mean, I know it's not as expensive as with dogs, but with our dog, it cost us $10,000 to save him. We're still paying that off. So if you have a ton of herps, I don't know, it depends on your vet. Might be worth a phone call of like, what are services like? What are standard services costing? I know a checkup for my vet is just 100 and something, 150, 175, but emergency, it bumps up another 100, and then that's not including test. So I don't have it off the top of my head, but I would say for each snake, you need a couple grand just in case, or a grand if you can. That's just at least having the basics in there. I can't answer that to the dollar. That's a great point, though. It's a great point, and it makes me want to go, I should call my vet and I should find out, because I have 10 snakes, and they were telling me that I should bring them all in to be checked out when I told them about the mites, which I'm not bringing all 10 in when one of them has mites. That's a dumb idea. Anyway. So emergency preparedness is a little bit different than the first aid kit, right? So that's talking about, where am mine? I have bins, go bins for the snakes. I have a backup power. I have 2 generators. So if the power goes out, have that ready to keep things running. The name tags on the habitats, I am working on that. That was pointed out to me by someone in the UK, actually, of like talking about behaviors of note. Because, hey, if someone's running into your house to save your snakes from the fire, they should probably know if you have a snake that might, be defensive or is unhealthy or whatever. Secure travel bins so that you can evacuate as necessary. Oh my goodness. That is horrible. Oh my goodness. That's cheap. Wow. Yeah. Mine was I took Anu in the other like, couple weeks ago, and it was 175 just to get her checked out, and then they I asked about some other things, and that was running into the, like, 500, 600. Yeah, that's a lot. Animals will not be impulse buys. We've all done it. I know I have. Yeah. Also, that's a good point, Chris. Back to the other one for the labels. Yeah, my labels that I'm working on, they all say non-venomous or in Rira's case, rear-fanged venomous. So go back to this. Yeah, because you want first responders, they're not going to reach in and save your snake, probably if it's venomous. So yeah, those bins and stuff. So this one's interesting. Responsible acquisition. I know I've definitely had an impulse buy before, with a snake, and I'm trying never to do that again. Most of them know, though. I think Elora was the closest thing. Like, I think she was the only like kind of impulse buy, but I took a day. But we should always do our research and spend the time evaluating, you know, the future. Do we have everything it needs? Do we know what it needs? And knowing its lifespan and our own ability to care for it for the entirety of that time. Something I'm thinking about for the sanctuary is like, I do want to have a few more snakes for the sanctuary, but I'm getting old and they live a really long time. So if I am going to get them, I probably need to get them soon. And I need to have a plan of who will get them if I die. Self-aware and honest with ourselves about our financial capability to care for another animal. So this kind of like ties into not getting another snake before you're sure you can take care of all of the ones you already have, you know? And I think that with the collector mentality, that's an issue in the community. So that's what this is. This one was interesting, and I will definitely want feedback. Okay, I'm tightening up a little bit. How about you want to go back home? You want to go back home? You want to go back home? Here you go. Sorry. Oh, you don't want to go back home. Okay. She doesn't want to go back. Anyway, yeah, this one will be interesting. Oh, wait. Ooh, that's great. I love that. Oh, that's a great one, Leah. Thank you. That is awesome. Absolutely 100%. I'm going to take notes on that. And I need to do that. I have basic, very, very basic for when I leave for my husband, but not like individual. Exactly. So like being prepared of like who's going to take my animals. I'm like, yeah, that's really great point. Thank you for that. So what I was saying is this one is going to be interesting to see like how this goes with breeders and such. But I really wanted to talk about humane standards of care, because of some folks in the UK that I've been talking to about the oversaturation of ball pythons and how many they're rescuing right now. Healthy saturation of species is something that I wanted to include in this. And then prioritizing wellness over aesthetics, so degenerative defects, and mutations and stuff in breeding programs. Like, I have a morph that Hi, D. Yay. I have a morph. I didn't know at the time that Motley has some issues with it. If I had known, I probably wouldn't have gotten him. So just being kind of conscious of that stuff and learning about it, I wanted to include in this. And definitely, if we have these animals with genetic defects, that we're taking responsibility for not breeding them ourselves and perpetuating that, or rehoming them to a place that might do so. Okay, this is what I was kind of talking about before. Before acquiring additional animals, we will ensure that we are providing appropriate care to those animals we already have. This is kind of like talking to the collector ADHD more mentality. We will maintain the ability to give attention, space, and enrichment to all of the animals in our care without pride of place. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, totally. Lot of royals, and yeah. So there's 2 or 3 women in the UK that I interact with on Instagram a lot who rescue, and it's so many ball pythons, and I mean, yeah, like really not good care, but that's here too. Definitely here too. Boas and ball pythons are the big ones. Rehoming, so best interest of the animal. That could mean personal hardship means that it's in the best interest of the animal to rehome it, right? So I'm not saying that you only rehome an animal. You guys know what I mean. It will be done in such a way that we are confident that the life it will have in its new home will be to the standards and ethics we have. We'll never knowingly release animals into the wild, captive animals, nor surrender animals without vetting the new caretaker, and will be honest and forthright about any and all health conditions. That's a big one too, because I think a lot of those rescues, either they have no idea of the health issues, or they have mites and they don't say they do, or all of that stuff. So 100%. Yep. You're in there. Presenting positive representations of reptiles to the public and educating those who are ignorant or uninformed in ways that inspire curiosity, respect, and appreciation. Of course, this is a subject that keeps coming up. I don't know if you guys listened to my last chat with my last episode. My chat with Rob Christian. Rob is Creeping It Real. We had a very interesting conversation about that subject. And so this is my opinion, that I don't believe we should ever be doing sensationalized stuff, but his point, and he who shall not be named, said that, we need clickbait in order to bring people in and reach more people. That's fine. You can think that way. I just don't. We will create shame-free educational environments for those who might need more information in order to improve their care, with the knowledge that a supportive environment for the human will be more likely to increase welfare for the animal as well. So I think that is a big deal. I know that people have said, like, they've been on Facebook groups and just getting torn to shreds, and it's not helpful. It is hard to know how to approach people who are doing things really wrong in a way that's not shaming them, but we got to try, because if you go in like, oh my God, what the hell is wrong with you? You're doing everything wrong. They're not going to be very receptive to it. He who shall not be named. No, I'll say Voldemort, no problem. I'm not afraid of saying Voldemort. Um, so leading into cultivating supportive and inclusive community, which is you guys and each other, caretaking any of our animals and each other. That includes having respectful discourse about caretaking methods that might differ from each other. So I've been having a lot of those lately. And if they're positive interactions and if we can agree to disagree or we can stay open, that is the only way, the best way forward, I believe. If we observe harmful methods being used, we will call attention to them in a constructive manner. It can be really hard, but we got to try. Accountability. So I'm pretty clear with myself and pretty transparent about when I make mistakes. And I think that's really important because that helps other people not repeat those mistakes. And as long as you acknowledge them and learn from them, then it's okay. It's not okay, but it has to be okay. Like, we're not perfect. And gratitude. We live in deep gratitude for the ability to have these animals in our lives because they're so amazing. And for all the good they can do for our mental and emotional well-being, and that it is a privilege to care for them, not a right. So if we take this privilege for granted and do not hold ourselves to high standards, then the privilege can and probably should be taken away. And that is what I was talking about in the beginning, is that we have USARK going out and trying to fight the bans and all of that, or responsible reptile keeping in the UK. But the problem is if we don't hold ourselves to high standards, that's not going to help our case. And I don't believe it is a right. I believe it's a privilege. So that's kind of where I end things on this. And then this is obviously being built out still, but I will have, and send them my way if you've got more papers as well. But I want to have a whole web page and links from within those, each tenant, to research that supports this kind of, each of these tenants. So yeah, that is my tenets of great care that I've been working on lately. And hopefully you guys can all be a part of it as well. That's all I got, really. I can't believe you didn't want to go back. You're like on a mission now. You were sleeping and now you're on a mission. What do you guys got for me before I sign off? What do you guys got? I'm really grateful for all of you, by the way. Thank you for being here. You're awesome. I think lives are nice because we all just kind of bounce off each other. And I mean, you guys had some great ideas. I love it. Architectural vivariums. Architectural. Okay. That's intimidating. I don't know. My builds are so involved already. I'm like, oh my God, I'm not quite ready to think about like the big ones, even though I can see them in my head for the sanctuary. Like the fabrication of them, I'm like, I gotta finish the ones I'm working on first. But I am excited about. Thank you. I am excited about the one I'm working on now for Severus with the water feature. That's exciting. I'm going to try and have a couple tutorial vids on that one. But I got to split those up a little bit more. Connected boxes. Oh, love you, Dee. You're the best. Thank you. How's Spider doing? I hope Spider's doing well. Dee just built out an awesome enclosure for his child's ball python, and I thought it was amazing. Connected boxes, that's all. Okay, well, Well, Nymeria wants to thank you all for being here, and I want to thank you. And let's keep talking about this stuff. I remain open and grateful for all of your opinions and ideas. Fair enough. Totally fair enough. You know, there are you can dismantle some of them, but I get what you mean. That's kind of why I did what I did with um O'Laurin's like basking ledge thing here because it's like it stands on its own. It's not attached to anything, so you can take it out and move it. The only thing I don't like is that it takes up floor space. But yeah, you can totally do stuff like that. Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm excited to show to play around with this water feature. So it's not like a waterfall with like crazy thing, but it is going to be fresh water. Thank you, Dave. I really appreciate you. It'll have a pump, it'll have some carbon media in it so that I don't have to change out the water too frequently. And it's like a rocky surround for the pool, and I'm really hoping that he likes it. Okay, where are you going? I'm gonna put her back, and I'm gonna sign off, you guys. And thank you for listening to me jabber on and for chiming in with all of your ideas. And Leah, that gives me an idea of maybe like doing some more removable options. That is kind of on my list anyway, because I want to see if I can maybe sell some or whatever. But yeah, great jabber. Thanks. But that makes me think that I really should do that to help people who don't want to do permanent installs. And I totally get why you don't. I always leave at least one wall that's not permanently attached to the other ones so I can expand. So anyway, I'm going to sign off, guys. Thank you so much. And see you next time. Join the Discord if you haven't already. All right. All right. Bye, everyone. Have a wonderful day.